Hey guys, got more portfolio reviews today, courtesy of people in my Discord. As always, if you want to learn art, animation, storyboarding, there's going to be a link to my Discord server in the description box below. I do weekly streams, I give people homework assignments, and I also do personalized one-on-one mentorship starting at just $20 a month. Okay, let's get into it. All right, first up, we've got Bolu Oriowo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I like how clear and simple the layout is. Always a good idea to have your email front and center on your website so it's easier for producers and recruiters to reach out to you. Alright. I would just make sure you have like a little bit more space between like storyboards and the title of the sequence. Maybe make it centered so it's a bit easier to tell. Let me just zoom in. Looks good so far. Staging's pretty good. You know, it's like nice and simple. You're following screen direction and everything. The characters are also clear and compelling. Hang on. I'm not sure if this is like a pan or some sort of transition. Because they seem to have like broken the 180-degree rule here and I don't know why. Is it meant to be like a camera rotation or something? Like on the other side of the house? This is a good example of when tone is really helpful in storyboarding. So for example, their silhouettes here kind of all just like merged together. And I think because you have all this negative space on the left side of the shot, you could have just put the horse like further to the left and like separated them, or maybe put different tones on them. Because in this one and in this one, the silhouette gets really muddy, especially because the line thickness on the guy and the horse is about the same, so you have a lot of tangents here, like with the hat and the horse's head. Same thing here, you could have just had a clearer silhouette here by just moving the horse a little bit to the right so that we see a better silhouette of the hand. You could just have like the outline of the horse in a different color and the hands in a different color. I know this is meant to be the tail of the horse, but if I'm just like going through your portfolio really fast, which every recruiter will because they just don't have time, can't tell what this is. So you want to make it like more clear. Same point here about the silhouettes. This is better, but again, the hand could just be over here instead of on the horse. Yep, I would have some sort of tone here because the figures really just get lost in each other. This is a little bit jumpy. It feels a bit jumpy because he's about the same size and the same position on screen, but the background is changing. Oh, and I think you break screen direction over here as well. She's on the left, he's on the right. Now he's on the left and she's on the right. A really easy fix that you can use is don't decide the layout of the scene first, decide the screen direction of it first. So what I mean by that is if she's on the right, you want to keep her on the right the whole time instead of having to establish and re-establish screen direction again. So for example, okay, she's on the right, that works. She's on the right still, that works, that works. There's no real reason for her to be on this side. You can just have her over here and then rearrange the entire shot so that she's always on the right side. Here, I would keep her on the right side. Honestly, just have her over here and have him on the left and the horse further left. I understand that their positions are consistent from one scene to another, but you're just introducing a lot of complication for yourself by constantly having to switch screen direction over and over and over again. So just rearrange it and reblock it so that she's always on the right side. And that alone is going to simplify things a lot more. So that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Here, you could just have her on the right side and have him facing left instead. So keep her on the right. See, you're already kind of like doing that here because here you're reestablishing that she's on the right and he's on the left. So just make it easier for yourself and just have her on the right side the whole time. Is this a cut or a camera move? I can't tell if this is a cut or a camera move, and this goes for pretty much like every beginner storyboard artist or anyone that's early on in their career doing storyboards. If you have a camera move, you want to be extra careful and break it down step by step so it's not mistakable as a cut. Here, I can't really tell because there's so many moving elements. If you just added 2 or 3 more breakdowns in between, it would be a lot more clear. Again, keep him on the left and her on the right. So when he's like returning to her, he's going from screen left to screen right. If you do that, that keeps you from having to reestablish screen direction again and just keep things consistent. Oh my god. Overall, I would say it's good. This is definitely a storyboard revisionist ready portfolio. I think if you fix the screen direction here and there, it'll make your portfolio stronger and you might even be a contender for, you know, like storyboard artist positions. But just the way it is now, I think you would really do well in a storyboard revisionist role. Alright, next up. Alright guys, this goes back to the whole layout thing that I talk about during every portfolio review. What you want to do is have your name front and center, indicate what it is that you do, and your email. Okay, I want to see all of it up here. I know you have a contact page, but you want to make sure your email is front and center just to be sure. Also, right off the bat, I don't recommend animatics, and the reason for that is because editing and animatic together is a whole separate skill set than being a storyboard artist. Most people don't know how to edit their boards. Even most professional storyboard artists, unless they have a lot of experience in animation or editing, even they don't know how to edit their boards together. So when you put an animatic in your portfolio, it can really struggle from that lack of knowledge. So there's no reason to introduce an extra level of work or complication to your portfolio. Just have everything as a PDF. Oh, this is a revisions thing? Okay. So as a revisionist, it's a bit more challenging to put together a portfolio. And that's because you can't take full credit for your boards, right? Like someone else boarded them and you revise them. What I would do is have a before and after of the boards that you were given and the revisions you made to them. One of my friends actually does a really good job of this. Let me pull up her portfolio. So if you're indicating revisions, you want to be extra clear about that. For example, here she says, since the sequence is so collaborative, revisions have been marked in red for animatic. See? You want to make sure that your revisions are very clear. It's also a good idea to actually include a list of the revisions you did on the bottom of each sequence. So yeah, make it extra clear what changes you made, because here I can't really tell. I would also not put any sort of thumbnails in your storyboards unless you have the finished sequence to go along with them. It goes back to what I mentioned in my other video. You want to compare yourself to other professionals and see what they're doing, because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to apply for the jobs that you want. Pretty much no professional is going to put their storyboards laid out in a grid format like this, because that's just not how it's done in a studio. This is fine for a personal project or if you're just planning out what your sequence is going to look like, but you would never want to put this as a finished product in a portfolio. All right, moving on, we've got Julieta Cruz. I am sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So yeah, like I mentioned before, it's nice to have your name front and center, and make sure you're including your email up here as well. I know you've got links to everything, but include your email just in case. Is this a musical? Yeah, same thing as I mentioned before, like don't do animatics. Just steer clear of animatics unless it's a musical piece. There's no sound here either, so I'm not sure why it's an animatic when it could easily be like a click-through PDF. And these are more so like beat boards edited together. Like this is not what I would call an animatic. So I mentioned this in my other portfolio review video as well. I see this all the time in beginner artists. Basically, when you're a storyboard artist, what are some things you need to show in your portfolio to get a job? A lot of it just comes down to really simple fundamental stuff like draftsmanship, actually being able to draw, making sure that your storyboards are clear and the audience can tell exactly what is going on. And the last thing, and the thing that I find the most challenging to teach, is film language. You want to think of storyboarding as learning a new language, okay? So storyboarding is not just taking a bunch of images or a bunch of drawings and like stringing them together to tell a story. That's more so along the lines of comic. Storyboarding is filmmaking. So if I'm looking at your portfolio and I'm seeing a lot of images edited together, but I'm not seeing a clear understanding of where the camera is supposed to be, that's going to get you rejected from every single storyboarding job. So for example, for a sequence like this is fine in a comic. It's okay to have these like little action lines and like notes and stuff like that. But if you're making a whole animatic, you want to pose things out one by one. An animatic is supposed to be like a film. It's supposed to be watchable. I don't want to have to go through an animatic and like put the pieces together myself. So you want to have more breakdowns in general. This one's better in the sense that I'm getting more of a mood across just from the imagery that you've chosen. But you would need to have like way more breakdowns than this. Same thing here, like these are beat boards or thumbnails stitched together, but these are not storyboards. Another really big thing that I see missing in beginner portfolios is a lack of understanding as to how shorthands are supposed to work. Ben Giuano made an amazing Twitter post about this like way back in the day, and I've had it saved ever since. A lot of you are doing storyboards like this on the left, and I want want to see more of what is on the right side. Yeah, there's just a lot going on in some of these panels, and I want you guys to simplify it to this extent, okay? Just a quick little plug. In addition to being a professional artist, I am also an ADHD coach. If you're an artist like me who also has ADHD and you struggle with things like being able to focus on your work, setting goals, getting your portfolio done, I have a 6-week ADHD coaching program that I've designed specifically for people like us. I have individual and group ADHD coaching sessions available. If you're interested in reserving your spot, or if you just want to know more about it, there's going to be a link in the description box below. Okay, back to the video. Okay, next up is Marlene Santos. I like your little header image, looks good. Again, include your email up here somewhere. Okay, it's nice and simple. Portfolio is nice and simple, which is good. It's always better to have like too little than too much. I would make sure you're adding thumbnails, explorations, scripts, like anything that you're using to plan out your storyboard sequences. These are definitely on the rougher side. I think it's off to a good start. Like your drawings are clear and appealing, but this is not what you would want to see in a professional setting. You need to have the perspective actually laid out. You need to have the firemen and the trucks and everything like articulated better. And you need to have like more breakdowns of like embers or smoke like flying off just to make it more clear. Another really common beginner mistake I see is a lack of backgrounds. Guys, your storyboards are going to be handed off to someone else, and they need to know where you planned on putting the camera. It's very crucial information. The only time you can get away with not having backgrounds is if you work in feature. And if there's a layout department in-house that can just come over and like ask you where you intended the background to be. The layout department on a feature production would probably have more time to figure out that stuff for you, but in TV, you don't have that time. So make sure you're including backgrounds in every single scene, even if you don't think it's necessary. I'm a little bit confused about the perspective here, because we're like looking straight at them, but we're seeing like the bottom of the pavement. So your horizon line would be like all the way down here somewhere, and you would see like another house or like a yard in the back instead of the pavement. I mean, this is fine in the sense that you have a clear beginning, middle, and end, and it's like a cute and a charming story, but there's no real reason for this to be 134 panels. I'm seeing a lot of the same issues in a lot of beginner portfolios, and I think that I might make another video that's more in-depth as to how you need to put together a portfolio, because there's a lot of really common mistakes that I'm seeing that I personally think are easy fixes and that are holding people back from just being able to break into the industry. Anyway, like I mentioned before, if you're interested in joining my Discord, the link is going to be in the description box below. That is all I have for now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!